USC football drops 3 spots in the new AP Top 25 poll. New details are emerging into Julio Urias' domestic abuse case, and Mike Williams may be out for the year with the Chargers. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is September 25th, 2023. I am at a rest stop somewhere in southern Utah. It is crisp. The air is fresh. It is glorious. And what do you say we keep the good vibes going by talking LA sports? If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. It's always good when you're talking LA. So before we go through the news and the notes, a look at the scoreboard. Chris Taylor's walk-off RBI single lifted the Dodgers to a 3-2 victory over Slum Francisco in the 10th inning yesterday. Now that victory would have been even more awesome had it officially eliminated the Giants from postseason contention. But you can't have everything in this world, right? You got to be patient sometimes. Meanwhile, the Chargers knocked off Minnesota in a battle of 2 winless teams. Chargers win 28-24. It was all Justin Herbert. He was 40 for 47, passing for 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Chargers live to fight another day, despite some bad news looming on the horizon, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Galaxy 3, Austin FC 3. It was a stirring comeback yet again for the 5-time MLS Cup winners. There is a rapid recap of the match on the Galaxy playlist. Michael Barrios headed in the game-tying goal. The Galaxy rallied from a 3-1 deficit with less than 10 minutes to play. Meanwhile, tonight, the Rams will be playing at Cincinnati at 5 o'clock. The Rams are opening a 2-game road trip with a Super Bowl rematch of 2 years ago. The drama around Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, we still don't know. They're being very coy. Sounds like a game-time decision. But let's start off by talking about USC. Look, the Trojans may have won Saturday, but let's be honest with ourselves. Despite the victory, they had a no-good, very bad week over at Heritage Hall. And, frankly, it's all on Lincoln Riley if you take a step back and look at it. 100%. For example, the Trojans fell 3 spots in the recent AP football poll, dropping to number 8. They're not even the highest-ranked team in the Pac-12 right now. Washington is. They're at 7. And by the way, Oregon and Utah are immediately behind USC. As an aside, if you're wondering, UCLA, they fell out of the top 25 as a result of their road loss to Utah. Now, I'm not trying to come across as an ingrate. I grew up a USC football fan. I've always been a USC football fan. I paid money to see that team while it was coached by Clay Helton. So my bona fides are there. You can check my receipts on StubHub. But while it is true that Lincoln Riley authored arguably the greatest single-season turnaround in school history last year, you also have to admit, you get to know people over time. The girl you're dating or that you wind up marrying, you know her flaws. And now we're starting to learn Lincoln Riley's flaws, frankly. I believe last week revealed Lincoln Riley to be an intensely stubborn man. We could have said at the end of last year that he was loyal by keeping Alex Grinch. Now I believe he's stubborn. Now you might sit there and say, well, James, if Alabama beat Vanderbilt and they struggled like USC did against Arizona State, the Scribes would never penalize the Crimson Tide like they penalized USC. East Coast bias. And you know what? You're right. You would be right. But this isn't East Coast bias. It's something entirely different. Newspaper reporters are tribal. They're petty. I know this. I was a newspaper reporter. I was part of that tribe. I was one of those petty guys. Scribes hold grudges. So, last week, as you recall, Lincoln Riley temporarily rescinded a reporter's press pass. And because of that, you don't think the reporters had a grudge against USC, the ones voting? You don't think they took that into account? Having a grudge against Lincoln Riley? Listen to newspaper reporters talk. How dare you, coach? We defend democracy. We defend freedom of speech. The hell they do. But that's not the point. Is they're petty. So for Lincoln Riley to deny that reporter his press pass invited the fire. It invited the wrath of the AP top 25 voters. That's one of the reasons that they fell from 5 to 8. And frankly, I told you guys that the scribes would be punishing USC for it as soon as they could. And they just did. The second reason that we have to blame Lincoln Riley, frankly, is obvious. Lincoln Riley chose to keep Alex Grinch as defensive coordinator. You saw Saturday's game. You saw the blown coverages. You saw the missed tackles. You saw over-aggressive play calling on 3rd and long that opened up massive holes for a Sun Devils offense to take advantage of with a 3rd-string quarterback and 4 offensive linemen out. That school was shut out by Fresno State, guys. In other words, Fresno State plays defense and USC does not. USC is throwing, and I say this as a legit fan, USC is throwing away a chance at greatness away due to the stubbornness of their head coach. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not saying USC won't qualify for the college football playoffs, that they can't make a run, but we have to face reality. Lincoln Riley got burned by his own stubbornness in this AP poll. Straight and simple. TMZ Sports reported that law enforcement say Dodgers pitcher Julio Urias, who is on administrative leave, slammed a woman into a fence, pulled her hair. After that LAFC match against Inter Miami last month, he got arrested for allegedly doing that. TMZ also alleges, but they don't claim the LAPD is saying this, TMZ is alleging that the woman had strangulation marks on her neck and that Urias allegedly swung on her. Whether he made contact, not clear. Urias is on administrative leave. Obviously, in case you forgot, he was arrested. So there's that. There's your unfortunate Julio Urias update. To the surprise of nobody, Dodgers outfielder / infielder Mookie Betts set a single season record for RBI by a leadoff hitter. He has 105. I suppose that's why he's an MVP candidate, right? Over for the Chargers, that win yesterday did not come without drama. And yes, I am aware of the idiotic 4th down call made by Brandon Staley late in the game. I am also aware that Kenneth Murray pretty much rescued Brandon Staley with a super late interception. But it wasn't just whether or not Murray picked off Kirk Cousins. No, that football bounced around off of 90 people. It literally looked like a bunch of drunk chicks in Nashville trying to grab the wedding bouquet. Seriously. So let's be real. The Chargers are not out of the woods just yet. And it got even worse during the game. Mike Williams, the wide receiver, had left. They originally called it a lower body injury, whatever the hell that means. The dude was on fire. He caught 7 passes up to that point for 121 yards and a touchdown. So he matters. And now we find out it's not a quote-unquote lower leg injury, it's his knee. And NFL media is reporting that the Chargers are extremely frightened at its significance. He will get an MRI today. If you're a Galaxy fan and you hear about knees, you know how bad that can be. The upshot for this for the Chargers, in all honesty, be thankful you guys drafted Quentin Johnston in the 1st round. He might not be ready to do everything that Mike Williams can do, obviously. But that's not a bad fallback option. Also, with the Chargers cornerback, J.C. Jackson was a healthy scratch for Sunday's game. That's not good news. It was very surprising. Jackson was never on the injury report. And the scribes asked Staley about it, and his response doesn't really solve anything. It actually opened up more questions. Quote, "We felt like this was the highest group for this game, and really nothing more than that. Coach, congratulations on the W, but there is a lot more to it than that." The Chargers gave this guy an $82.5 million contract, and now he can't get on the field even though he's not injured? $82.5 million. There's a lot of questions to be answered when the highest paid free agent that in the NFL from 2 years ago can't get on the field. There's something wrong, and we don't know about it yet. There's a lot more to it than that. New Rams feature running back Kyren Williams told the LA Times that he credits former Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner for boosting his game. Williams was already somebody who was one of the last guys at the practice facility. He told the Times that he was just hanging out, and he noticed that Bobby Wagner was there breaking down film. Wagner would have been the so-called last guy to leave. Now it's Williams. And teammates are noticing how much work Williams is putting in after practice, especially in the film room. It's a game changer for LA's offense. Matthew Stafford said Williams is, quote, super dialed in, unquote, on pass protection. In other words, Williams isn't making a difference simply by running the ball or catching a pass. He's making a difference because he knows what the other team is doing, and he's able to pick up the blitz, which protects Matthew Stafford, who is obviously one of the two most important people on that roster. Because as much as we all love Cooper Kupp, even with Cooper Kupp out, there is a receiver or two, i.e. Puka Nacua, who could fill in the gap. They can't fill in the gap without Matthew Stafford. It's that obvious. And by the way, center Coleman Shelton also agrees. He's calling Williams, quote, a sixth protector on the line. So, thank you, Bobby Wagner, for being an influence, even though you're in Seattle now. Former Laker Patrick Beverley got in Jared Vanderbilt's business. Remember, Beverley used to be a Laker. Now, I don't even know. I think he's a free agent now, but he didn't like his time in LA. He's been slamming the Lakers every chance he gets, and he was telling Lakers forward Jared Vanderbilt not to sign an extension with the Lakers, which of course Vanderbilt didn't pay attention to, and he did. He got a $48 million contract, so he's a pretty happy fellow right now. Color me reactionary, but I think $48 million is called generational wealth. Beverly went and gave unsolicited advice on his podcast. Whatever. Patrick Beverly is a guy that I still, for the most part, like, but he needs to mind his own business. Apparently, Jared Vanderbilt likes being with the Lakers. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about why you think USC fell 3 spots in the AP poll. Tell me what you think about the Chargers. Are they in better shape now at 1-2? Or is it still kind of a big, massive problem considering you have multiple people who can't get on the field? If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kiem Corte El Queso production. Take care.